So let's take a look at what I have here. Okay, Tim Goodman here, part of the cohort Killing It. Really hoping that y'all are okay with the split screen. Split screen is going to allow me to help you to see what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, the order, the structure, the sequence, and what goes along with it so that I can, make this training an easy process for any teacher that needs to take it. So on the right, PowerPoint. I'm not having it in view, just for right now, just personal choice. And on the left, you'll see that I have an email. The email just introduces me, and it's just the first contact. They probably heard they have to take the training, and they've registered for the training, and so they'll receive this email. And that's just the first bit. I just thought that was cute, brownie points, that kind of thing. Alrighty. And on the right, no, this is not the first slide, but it shows the purpose of what I'm doing, learning the purpose and the theory behind district-adopted curriculum resources. Basically, I learned a lot from doing my lit review, and one of the main things I learned is the buy-in factor for teachers. If teachers understand the purpose behind district-adopted curriculum resource or any resources that they use in the classroom, if they understand how the tool is used, well, then it makes it that much more effective, and research does bear that out. And no, I'm not going to quote or anything because this is just the screencast. If you want to dig into it, then I will get you more info as you need it. Okay, let me see. This is how I start. Come on, there we go. So this is how I start. And you can see that I'm a very friendly person. Most bearded folks are. It says, welcome, teachers. And I lay out my agenda. And after the agenda, go in the introduction, something fun. Remember these guys? Used to love watching those. As an adult, not a kid. It's a little take on some of the different icebreakers that I've been a part of in the past. Okay, trust but verify. The purpose being, do we know whether or not the resources we're using are indeed reliable, trustworthy? Are they based on how the brain works, how the brain operates, how children learn? Does it work within the structure of, and I'll keep clicking, with what we do in the classroom? Does it work with the time frame that we work with? Do they use best practices? Let's go through. Okay, so what does research say about teachers who know their curriculum materials? And here is where I lay out the one study that I found. And it wasn't the only one that mentions it. It was just the only one that actually focused on teachers who do know the intent of the designer of the curriculum have by far more success with those tools. So buy-in truly is important. And then I go into what research says. The primacy recency effect, just structuring lessons to maximize peak learning times, are the provided activities. And again, we're talking about in the resources that we use. So are the resources structured in a way that maximizes how the brain learns? It's funny. I'm looking at this and how I've got my cursor all over the place. You're probably going to be able to see that. And I'm thinking that, that's demonstrative of what it looks like for those of us that speak with our hands. Although you can't see my hands, you can see my cursor. All right. Moving on. And then what I mentioned earlier. Love this. This is the so what factor. I love a so what factor. It makes, if you are able to get behind how the resource works, the intent of the tool and how you can use the tool to maximize learning. If you have that and you've got the buy-in and you know how the brain learns, the difference is, yeah, that hammer in the hands of that lovely teacher or Thor's little tack hammer there. I like the idea of using visuals to, for one, smile. So added the picture of Fry just so that it can demonstrate, listen, we're not always the friendliest towards the resources that we're given. We're not, if we're going to be honest. But, is that genuine? In other words, genuine would be, is that as a result of our expertise and our objective criticism, or is that just because we're stubborn and we don't like change and we wanted to use the other thing and they didn't adopt the one I want to use? Not a very healthy mindset if you're going to be a successful teacher. And of course, if research does prove that our buy-in and our knowledge of how the brain learns matters, because research does bear out that our understanding of how the brain learns and curriculum, it does matter. So, let me go back. So I give them a little video. I am not going to play the video. I'm already making a video. And the video is funny. It is it's a clip from The Office, the show, and it goes through a scenario where the team in the office totally fails at their objective, their goal. They do not operate, as God says, as one body so that we can all achieve the goal that we set out to do. We talk about what went wrong and a lot of back and forth for the teachers to do. And then I give them a checklist, questions to ask when you're evaluating resources. And I forgot to mention that in the email, I tell them to bring their TE so that they can evaluate it later. And then same thing with verify. Great, but how do we verify it? How do we verify our curriculum resources? And I give them examples, real life examples. Teachers in Marion County would understand the two examples that I've given here. On the left, a common complaint about the use and adoption of CKLA Amplify. Great tool, and it just seems like after objectively looking at it using the questions above, it's not designed to meet the needs of our students or of the structure of how our classrooms operate, the time frames that we have, and frankly, even the way kids learn. It's modeled after a whole group type of setting, which is a great way to start, but there's no differentiated instruction. There's nothing for us to differentiate, period, or even to break out into smaller groups to get folks collaborating and whatnot. So it's not the strongest tool that we could have adopted, but we have it, so what can we do? And then on the right, something that we use in for intervention for kiddos that did not pass the FSA, who scored a 1 or a 2. It's called Read 180, and I evaluated that, and you can see the notes there. And show what you know so far. So I've got a little parking lot activity. They'll put their stuff up on the parking lot. Then break time. It gives me a chance to look at their feedback. Okay, parking lot feedback. The note's adorable, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm already talking too much. And then your turn. This is where they're going to take out their TE and they're going to evaluate. So let me show you. They're going to evaluate. It's a little handout. I say that they're going to use a blue handout. I didn't make it blue here, but if I printed it, I'd print it blue because I said so, and I'm a man of my word. And they'll use this blue handout and their teacher's edition of whatever they brought, because here's the checklist that they can use to evaluate their curriculum. Here is, there we go. Here is what I refer to as the white handout. they're going to be using this to record what they found. It's only 2 pages. And then at the end, I give them a 1 to 10 scale to rate the resource. And wrapping it up, and then a thank you, because my wife tells me I have to be grateful, but so does God. He's bigger than my wife.